Now, on your periodic table, you will see a particular type of element which has a format that is like this, where you have carbon with 6 and this number here. Now, when you look at this, you'll be like, oh yeah, of course, this here is the element symbol, and this here is known as the atomic number. Usually it's always the smallest, and you know that for a neutral atom, this here is the sum of the electron number to be equal to the sum of the proton number. Ideally, we always go with this for sure. Now, the big question here is why do we have a decimal right here? This number here is a bigger number always compared to that particular atomic number. The reason why this here is decimal is one, we need to define where it is. This here is known as the atomic mass unit, AMU, and this here kind of taps into the mass of a particular average number of types of a particular element, in this case carbon, and there is an abundance of this particular type of carbon here, which is in this case carbon-12. But back to this AMU, what does this here mean, atomic mass unit? This here is not an absolute, but it is like a relative number. This abundance of carbon, which is carbon-12, is interesting because we can actually make this to be the standard value for the atomic mass unit. What does this mean here? We know that carbon-12, when you look closely, it has a mass to be equal to what? 12 AMU. Why do we make this to be the standard? The reason why is because this here, when you look closely at the actual mass of this particular carbon-12, we notice that the value to be around 1.9927 times 10 to the power of negative 23 grams, and this value here, we are going to make it to be equal to what? 12 AMU. And so when you look closely at what this here means, we look at how this here can be equivalent to how much is for 1 AMU. And so for 1 AMU, what we do is that this number here, we multiply by this number and we divide by 12 AMU. And so this here will give us our value to be 1.66 approximately, but if we want to go numbers after the decimal point, it will be 0.6 times 10 to the power of what? The power of negative 24 grams. And so when you look closely at this number, you're like, this number is familiar. This number is equal to the mass of what? A proton, or you can say the mass of one neutron. And so based on this, we are able to conclude that this number here is relative to 1/12 of what? The isotope of carbon to be 12, and that is the origin story of our atomic mass unit. So fascinating stuff.